Hello, everyone. So I just wanted to take a moment and let you know that we're about to get started. Welcome. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. With today's class, we're going to mostly focus on our hip flexors and kind of the muscles in and around our hips. So that'll affect our lower backs as well. And I'm really looking forward to it. So as you're just getting yourself set up, getting into a position that is comfortable on your backs, laying on your mat, wherever that may be, go ahead and check your surroundings to ensure that you're happy with any of the distractions that may be coming into your purview. I know if you hear the odd sound, sometimes it can really take you out of focus. So you have one of two options. Option one, aware of those distractions, aware of the sounds, the smells, everything that you're feeling, you're hearing, you're seeing, accept them and allow them to be a part of your practice. The other option is to move into that quiet place that's away from everyone, that you're not going to be bothered. So those two options, and sometimes it's day to day on what you're able to do. With that being said, I will invite everyone to lay on your mat. Hopefully you can hear the music all right, adjusting your volume as necessary so this can be the most relaxing and rewarding experience, the practice that you've chosen to take on today. All right, probably everyone's down there now, so I will join you. Laying in Shavasana, or any version of that laying on your back position, to begin our class in our relaxed pose. And as we are getting ourselves down here, we're noticing any tension across our shoulders, any sensation that we may be feeling in and around the backs or the hips, maybe even the necks. We may have to rock our head right to left in order to find that long neck resting on the back of our skull with our nose pointing straight to the ceiling. Perhaps we're very twisted or tilted to one side or the other today. Allowing this practice to basically act as that reset button for us. Whatever we got up to this weekend, whether it was a lot of activity and our body's a little fatigued, or we found new muscles, or maybe it was one of those weekends where we were confined to a seated position. Regardless of what has happened, let's focus right here, right now, on what our body is telling us. Let's pay attention to those cues, absorbing all of that sensory information, aware of our heart rate, our breathing as we deepen our inhale and follow suit with a fully complete exhale. And with that breath comes even more focus, internal. As we continue to breathe and become more aware of our body, let's reach our arms long up overhead, stretching them out, big stretch through the shoulders. Big deep breath. Noticing our rib cage expanding. And then our body melting into the mat beneath us. Any stretch through the shoulders, any limitations, restrictions, being aware of that. As we release those arms down and gather our knees into our chest now, giving ourselves a big hug. We can hold on to the shins, the thighs, wherever's comfortable. And if it feels good, incorporating that rock side to side, right to left. Continuing to hold our knees, go ahead and roll your ankles, working out any cricks and cracks, moving through your toes, encouraging blood flow down to those feet. Preparing for our single knee stretch here. We'll keep a hold of that right knee as we lengthen the left leg, trying to press the left leg firmly into the mat and drawing the right knee open slightly out towards that right shoulder. You may be feeling a lot of sensation down the front of your left hip into your thigh, or perhaps it's mostly through those adductors, the inner thigh muscles of the right leg. Keeping our hips stable and level, let's draw the knee now over towards your left shoulder, continuing to hug the thigh in towards the belly. Noticing any pinching through that right hip flexor now, or any stretch through the outside or the abductors of that right hip. Inhaling through the middle and exhale, release. Inhale, lifting that left knee into chest. And whenever we're ready, we can open that left leg out as we firmly press the right leg down, likely causing a little bit of a reaction through that right hip or through the left groin. Try to stay calm across the shoulders, continuing to deepen our breath. Drawing that leg over towards your right shoulder now. Still hugging the thigh in towards the stomach, noticing what's happening through that hip. Bringing the leg in and releasing the leg down. Take your time as we find feet flat on the floor, preparing for glute bridges. Heels are nice and close to the body, legs are separated hips width distance apart. Arms down by our side as we roll shoulders into the mat. Inhale, lifting the hips up to the ceiling. And exhale, slowly roll down. Inhale, lifting the hips up. Exhale, roll down. 2 more times. Inhale, lift the hips. Feet are flat on the floor. Exhale, lower. And last one. Inhale, lift, stretching the front of the thighs, activating those glutes. And exhale, release. From here, keep your feet where they are. Your knees are bent. Hands come to side or back of head. We'll do some abdominal work. Slight tuck of the chin as we squeeze our bellies into spine. Inhale, lifting up to the middle. Now exhale, lower down. We'll do this a few times. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Inhale, lift, nice and slow. Squeeze the belly. Exhale, lower. Relax. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. And 1 more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. Take our arms out to the side, walk our feet a little bit wider, about as wide as your yoga mat, maybe a little bit more. Little windshield wipers here, both knees to the right and then to the left at your own time. Easy rocking. This is for you. Listen to your body, figuring out what's going on through the hips, the back, the legs. And then we can slowly work our way up and over onto all fours, where we'll do a couple of exercises in tabletop. So as we find ourselves in this new position, we're establishing a strong foundation with hands underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. Taking our cow and cat, we'll inhale, look forward, opening the chest. And exhale, tuck the tailbone, pull the bellies in as we round the back. Inhale, opening up to cow. Exhale, rounding up to cat. We'll do this 1 more time through. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Taking tabletop again, making sure we're pushing away from our hands, shoulders up towards the ceiling, finding what's called a sunbird. Leaving your hands on the ground today will isolate just that right hip moving. Take the knee in towards the chest, and then kick that heel up towards the ceiling. You can round your back like cow and cat. So we drive the knee in, round up to cat, and then inhale, kick up, just like cow. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift. One more. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift. Replace that leg, exhale. Inhale, lift up, left leg. Exhale, come in. Inhale, kick. Exhale, mobilizing through the spine. Inhale, kick, lengthening that left hip. Exhale, up. Two more. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. And last one, inhale, lift up. And bring the leg down. Coming back into child's pose. Sinking those hips down through the heels, extending our arms forward, and resting our head. Now making child's pose your own position. However you need to adjust. Some days I find I need to really open my knees wide in order to support my lower back if I did a lot of things that cause my back to hurt, like sitting in a chair at a desk for a long time. If you're noticing you need to separate your knees or just not come up or down quite so low, pay attention to those cues. From here, we'll take our modified flow series. Inhaling forward into your kneeling plank. Exhale, lower down into your baby crocodile. Inhale, push straight up into kneeling plank. Exhale, push back into child's pose. Couple more times. Inhaling forward into kneeling plank. Exhale, lower, hover position, baby crocodile. Inhale, press straight up. Exhale, push back into child's pose. One more time. Inhaling forward. Exhale, lower, lots of control here. Inhale, press straight up. Exhale, push back, holding child's pose for a couple of breaths. Let's check in with our body, our breathing, and our focus. If we find our mind has been wandering, let's just try to find something, a mantra, a breath, my voice, the music, something that you can really hold your attention to. Now let's curl our toes as we walk our hands and feet together. Take your time here. The up and down is often what causes some people a little bit of distress in yoga. So working through it, finding your coordination as we come halfway up to monkey. Flattening out our backs, pull those bellies in nice and tight, hands against thighs or shins. Noticing this wonderful postural corrector. A little bit of time. Now softening those knees. Inhale, lift all the way up nice and tall. And exhale, release. At this point, adjusting if you had warm-up layers on and you need to take them off. If you need to change your computer angle, any of that fun stuff, grabbing a drink of water. We will be moving into some flowing type movement. The first flowing type movement that I will invite everyone to participate in is from the top of our mat, we step open to the long edge of our mat. The legs are slightly wider than our hips as we prepare for moonflowers, and notice that the hips are open, so the toes are pointing slightly out to the side. Softening those knees, let's roll the shoulders down our backs. Take a big inhale, lift the hands up. Now exhale, squeeze the elbows into your rib cage. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, squeeze. Lots of energy. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, lift. Exhale, keeping those knees over the ankles. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squeeze. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squeeze. Now we inhale, lift up, and step back to the front of our mat. So at the top of our mat now, establishing mountain pose, drawing our shoulders down, palms facing forward, feeling very tall. Go ahead and just zip up through the middle here. Preparing for swan dive. We'll do swan dive over and over again in a flow type movement. We inhale, lift the hands up above head to prayer. Now exhale, hinge at the hips, swan diving towards forward fold. Inhale, reverse, bending the knees, lift up nice and tall. Again, we exhale, hinge at the hips, knee bend, Reverse swan dive, inhale, lift up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Bend the knees, inhale, lift up. Exhale, swan dive down. And now inhale, reverse, lift up. One more time, exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, lift up tall. And release with your exhale. Very nice. From here, we're going to take ourselves all the way to the mat with a big inhale. Exhale, swan dive. And we'll work our way stepping back through plank, down dog, or child's pose, which we will hold. Now, if we're in down dog, really press those fingers wide and deeply into the ground. So there's a lot of active tension here. As we push our hips away from our hands, we're feeling those shoulder blades in the back actually come down as well. If that being said, lots of space with our neck. So we want to just shake it here. No, lots of room to move, and then nod it yes. Notice how that feels if your neck is tight at all today. And then we're looking at our feet. Go ahead and pedal out your feet. Walking the dog in place, toe to heel, right to left foot. Good. Now we're all coming down into child pose now, bringing the knees to the floor, sinking those hips nice and low if we're able to. And if we can extend our arms, let's rest our heads. Taking a couple more breaths, noticing now that likely our heart rate is increased. Maybe we're feeling like we're a little bit warmer. Our breathing may have increased as well with our heat building. On our next inhale, let's come up into tabletop again. We're preparing for our runner's lunge, also known as kneeling lunge. We'll take our right foot forward in between your hands, and we want to line up the knee right on top of the ankle. Now, when you're ready, you can decide if you'd rather keep your hands on the floor today. Perfectly acceptable. Remember, we're listening to our body and we're doing what feels good. If you feel like you need to do a little bit more, go ahead and take the hands up onto the thigh. If that feels okay in terms of balance, I'd recommend lifting the arms up nice and high to the ceiling or finding heart center. Establishing your arms, noticing that lengthening that's happening in your left hip. This primarily focuses on opening up your left hip flexor, which corrects things from sitting all day mostly, right? If we're sitting at a desk, and it allows us to stand up a little bit straighter and with less discomfort in our hips, which can lead to some back problems or issues. Now, from our runner's lunge position, go ahead and release our hands, switching through tabletop, and we'll simply switch to the other foot. Most of us taking the left foot forward, making sure you're doing both sides, deciding if we'd like to keep the hands on the floor, the thigh, right away I felt that right hip open up, or lifting the arms through heart center or up to the ceiling. As we decide where to hold the arms, I'll really encourage everyone to relax those shoulders down away from ears. Continue to sandwich back and belly together, which is going to help as we open up that right hip. Continuing to drive forward into the left knee, just watching that we're not crunching or tensing up through the toes. Nice and long through those toes. We'll take one more inhale. And exhale, release the hands, sweep back, finding child's pose again. Now I'll give you an option. You can stay in child's pose and rest, or if you'd like to work, we're going to do our modified flow series 3 times through. Inhaling forward into that kneeling plank. Exhale, slow lower, hold that hover position. Inhale, press straight up. Exhale, push back. Doing that twice more if you're flowing with me. Inhaling forward, kneeling plank. Exhale, chaturanga, that hold position, baby crocodile. Inhale, press straight up. Exhale, push back to child's. Once more. Inhale. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, press back. When you're ready, curling the toes, Walking the hands and feet together, finding the top of your mat if you're able to, coming halfway up to monkey. Correct your posture, belly's in, shoulder blades squeeze together, creating a flat back. Softening those knees, inhale, lift up nice and tall, and exhale, release. Maybe take a couple of shoulder rolls as we step into mountain. Now we can remain at the top of our mat as we prepare for a chair pose, which we are going to flow and then hold, activating those nice large groups of muscles through the legs to offer some heat building. Shoulders down, make sure you're happy with your stance here. Likely most of us in mountain have our feet only separated by what would be our third foot. So it's not much wider than the space of one of our feet. Some of us prefer to have our feet touching, and others need a bigger or larger space for a more active stance. I want you to establish that right now. Listen to your body and find a comfortable position here. Now roll the shoulders down. If you haven't already, holding mountain. We'll take an inhale to lift our hands up nice and tall. Now exhale, sweep our arms through as we sit down into our squat. If your knees are bothering you, just don't come quite as low. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, chair. Inhale, lift, keep the bellies in. Exhale. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Let's encourage that blood flow. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. We're holding it down here. So you may not come quite as low. Now from here, I want us to play with our feet. One heel lift at a time. Right and left. Right and left. You're going to feel your thighs start to really work. I'm going to hold heart center actually. My arms were shaking. Staying in that chair position. And if you're able to add these alternating heel lifts, see what you can do. And then if you'd like to take it one step further, we're going to try to lift both heels. Doesn't have to come very far. See if you can lift, and you could potentially bring yourself all the way up onto your tippy toes. No matter where your heels are, see if we can come a little bit lower now. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Holding your balanced chair or holding your chair, however you're able to do it. Take one big inhale, lift up tall, and exhale, release. Shake it out. Every now and then it's really fun to work those legs and experience that rush of heat. Now, from our mountain pose, likely we're at the top of our mat. I'm going to ask us to step to that wide or long edge of your mat again into the same position we had for moonflowers. This time, finding ourselves in a sun pose or goddess. We'll inhale, lift those arms up nice and tall. Palms are raised to the sky as we exhale, come down and hold. You may have to open your legs a little bit further if they weren't quite big enough. Really squeeze your shoulder blades down our backs. Open those knees out and have those strong arms, like you're carrying the world above you. We're Atlas, we're strong, we're powerful. Thinking a little bit lower if you're able to, working those leg muscles, opening up. We're stretching through the adductors, strengthening the thighs, squeezing the glutes as well. Now take our last big inhale, lift up nice and tall, and exhale, release. We can heel toe those feet together. And again, if you'd like to shake out your legs, that would be great. Now, as we stand in mountain, I want us to take a couple of breaths as we prepare for our one and only warrior pose today, which is going to be a single leg balance. Coming into warrior 3, we'll start by taking our hands to our hips. Taking your right knee, give it just a little bit of a bend to make sure that we're not locking it. Let's extend that left leg back behind us. We're balancing on that front right foot, and our left leg is just balancing back. You may tap your toe. What we would like to do is think of a piece of tape running across the hips, across the shoulders, and then that another piece of tape, the third piece of tape, is now coming right down the center of our body, sternum to belly button to pubic bone. What we don't want to do is have our pieces of tape go offline. So let's keep those perpendicular and parallel lines happening here. If you'd like to, you can keep your back foot on the floor. Otherwise, let's start to lift that foot up. And you'll notice as you extend your hip, we're going to end up hinging forward, and you can come as far forward as parallel. But remember, we want those lines parallel and perpendicular, those tapes. Now from here, if you like your hands to stay on your hips, leave them there. Another good position is having them just back reaching like you would in locust on the floor. You can also bring them out to the side. That's very helpful with our balance, offering those wingspans like an airplane. You need a little bit more of a challenge, you can reach them forward like Superman. This is challenging for those shoulder and back muscles. We'll hold this for just a couple more breaths, really feeling this in that right supporting leg. Belly's in nice and tight. On your next inhale, lift up nice and tall. And exhale, release. Shake, shake, shake. Rolling the shoulders down. Preparing to repeat that now on the other side. I'll ask us again to take our hands to our hips. Extend that back right leg this time as we soften the left supporting knee. That way your muscles turn on. Imagine the pieces of tape. And then slowly start to lift that right leg up. As we do so, we'll naturally tip forward, keeping your body square. And as soon as you want to, you can change your arms. If you'd like them close to your body, out to the side for more support, or for that challenge, reaching them forward. Keep squeezing that back leg. And if you need to, you can always keep that foot on the ground, taking that kickstand method instead. Just 2 more breaths. And inhale when you're ready to lift tall. Oh, and shake, 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 shake. From here, we are going to take one more single leg balance. This is going to be our dancer, focusing on that hip flexor. If anyone found that that was very challenging today in terms of balance, because sometimes our balance is a little bit off, you're going to hold a wall and just use that. A desk, a chair, anything will suffice, and just use that. More psychological than anything, that security. Otherwise, we're in the center of our floor, mountain pose, soft knees, strong through that midsection, proud through chest and shoulders. Keeping your right foot on the ground, let's extend that left leg back behind us. Checking for gum, we draw the hand to the inside of the ankle. Otherwise, it's fine to hold the outside. Circle that left shoulder back behind you. Feel a wonderful stretch through the shoulder. And then if the right hand is holding a wall, taking it there now, otherwise reaching it forward. We can start to kick that foot back, which may cause us to tip forward slightly. Think of those pieces of tape. We want those pieces of tape to still stay straight and not tipping too much. Pressing that foot back into the hand, which causes the hip hinge. See how I'm always wearing my crown tall on my head, never letting that crown fall off. Good, take a big inhale, lift up. And exhale, release. Whew, wow, my quadricep muscle, my thigh is definitely appreciating that stretch. If you're using a chair or balance and you'd like to turn around, go ahead and do that now as we set up the other side. We'll extend the right leg back behind us. Notice how your body wanted to shift there. If it did, grabbing your foot. If your body is trying to open up, this is not going to be very helpful for the stretch. So take that extra second, like I'm trying to do, and convince your body to square back up. Whenever you're ready, we start to tip. And maybe you're never ready today to tip. Maybe it's the simple act of holding the position that offers you enough of either a stretch or a balance exercise. And you may notice too how this right leg is feeling much different than your left, or perhaps it's quite similar. Continuing to breathe. On your next inhale, we'll lift up nice and tall. And exhale, release. Fantastic. Stepping into your mountain pose at the top of your mat. Once more, let's roll those shoulders down, zip up through your core. Taking an inhale at the top of the mat to lift up tall to prayer. We exhale, swan dive, hinging from hips into forward fold. This time we're holding this here. Now right away, I felt my lower back give a little stretch. So I'm going to actually come up a little bit higher, taking my hands You could do it on your thighs or your shins rather than the floor. So if ever you need to protect your lower back, think about really flattening it out and pulling your bellies in and just modifying so that you're not quite as long in your stretch. And then you may find that every exhale you take, you're actually able then to relax just a little bit more. Now slowly we'll come down onto those knees. And then take ourselves around, sitting down nice and tall. Sitting in a comfortable upright position. Sometimes this is one of the more difficult positions in yoga to take, in which case I recommend having a yoga block, a small throw pillow, a rolled up hand towel, a second rolled up yoga mat that you can sit on, which then allows you to straighten out, particularly that lumbar area of your back. As we're sitting here, what we're going to take next is our shoulder stretch. Just working at a computer desk perhaps all morning today, we're feeling like we've collapsed a little bit, so let's stretch that open. Reaching our arms out long, taking that right arm across the body. The left hand scoops under. We secure the arm close against our body. Notice this right shoulder is still down. Lots of space between shoulder and ear. From here, I like to add in a next level, which is a little neck stretch, just tipping that head over towards the hands, releasing that whole right side. Let's slowly deepen our breathing. And release. Nice opening here, thumbs up. Switching to the other side, our left arm comes across. We scoop under, securing the arm against our body. That shoulder comes down. And then we can add that neck stretch as we just tip the head towards those hands. Good, and slowly release open. And relax that. If you need a couple of shoulder rolls, that's good. Taking the legs and now draw the soles of feet together. Our final seated position is going to be butterfly. Again, to target those adductors and release the hips, help stretch the lower back. As we press the feet together, glue the toes, hold the ankles, sit up so tall, start to hinge forward. Elbows can come in or be used to help open those knees out a bit more. Continuing to keep the back really nice and straight. Again, if you're just taking a little extra caution with your hips or back today. If you're feeling like you could do more, you can always tuck that chin, allowing an extra stretch down the back through the upper neck. Slowly rolling that up, taking those knees together, and then taking ourselves down to the floor. At this point, if you need to put your socks on, warm up jacket, have a blanket nearby, go ahead and grab all of that stuff, making sure that you can enjoy our final relaxation. We have 2 more stretches we'll do before we come into our final meditation. The first one is going to be dead bug, also known as happy baby in some yoga language. So as you get yourself settled and comfortable and back down on the floor, I want you to take a moment, find the relaxing recovery position. For me, it's knees to chest. This is my personal favorite. And we're just working our way into a safe mental space, bringing our body back down on the back, preparing for that dead bug position, which we'll get into now. Taking our legs into the chest if you haven't already, go ahead and bring the feet up to the ceiling as if you're putting footprints on the ceiling. You can take a hold of the back of your knees, the outside of your feet, or my personal favorite, peace fingers, wrap them around your big toe. So whatever feels more comfortable for you. Let's keep the head and shoulders relaxed on the mat. We're trying to keep the tailbone down on the floor. bending your knees as much as you need to, and then allow your legs to separate. Just keeping your feet putting those footprints on the ceiling. And as we let the knees separate, we feel the stretch through the inner thighs, the groin, perhaps the lower back if we're able to keep those tailbones down, and the feet so that the soles are parallel with the ceiling. Try to keep the shoulders down, that chin slightly tucked. Deep breath. And we'll slowly release the legs, drawing them through the middle and down to the ground. Walk those feet out as wide or slightly wider than the mat again. Arms are out to the side, just like the beginning. Let's windshield wiper. Nice and slow, right to left. Getting ready for our final stretch together before coming into our meditation, which will be our spinal twist. Lots of ways to do this. So as we finish those windshield wipers, let's go ahead and heel toe walk those feet together. Knees can be glued. We can keep our feet on the floor or lift both legs up 90 degrees. We could also do it one leg at a time. So finding the method that's best for you, let's drop those knees over to the right side. And as the legs melt into the ground, we can look over the left shoulder if it's comfortable to do so, stretching down that whole left side of our body. I'd like you to check in, noticing if you have given yourself permission to relax, or if you're feeling like you're still tense. Take that extra big exhale and melt. We can bring the legs through the middle and lower them over to that left side now. And when you're able to comfortably rest the legs on the ground, go ahead and, or towards the ground if they're not all the way touching, go ahead and look over the right shoulder if that's an option. Melting both shoulders into the mat, stretching down that right side. And then you can release the legs, bringing them up through the middle. And getting ourselves into position, whether your feet are going to remain on the ground with knees bent, or your legs come all the way down into our Shavasana. I'd ask us now to find that final resting pose. Whatever that may be, sometimes it's sitting down. Sometimes that's the position we need to take. So wherever we've ended up here, let's relax through the hips, the shoulders, the abdominal muscles. Close our eyes. Soften our facial features. And begin to focus really, truly on our breathing. In through the nose, feeling the rise of the stomach, the ribs, the chest. And out through the nose, feeling our body soften. Continuing to practice this deep breath, we may notice that we're actually able to breathe a little bit slower, take longer, deeper breaths. What I'd like us to be reminded of at this moment in our relaxation is that we should never confuse activity with productivity. And what I mean by that is considering our final relaxation, what we're doing right now. It seems like we're really doing nothing at all. However, we're receiving so much out of this particular pose. Resting right now, it's allowing us an opportunity again to become aware of our mind and our body, mentally and physically integrating all of the benefits of the practice that we just completed. It's also providing us an opportunity to transition back into our daily routine. Thinking about all of the muscular tension and stress releasing, how that improves our health and well-being. As we take those last couple of breaths, I want you really to allow those muscles to let go. The worry, the stress, the anxiety to melt away, even for just a moment. This final relaxation is integral to our yoga practice. And I never want you to feel like you have to rush it or skip it in order to get on to the next part of your day. And I appreciate you taking the time to do so. On your next exhale, let's start to wiggle those fingers and toes, maybe even rolling through wrists and ankles. As you make your way out of your Shavasana position, go ahead and take yourself all the way up into an upright seated pose, where we will say our final goodbye. As we find the position, taking that final breath together, inhale, lifting our hands all the way up above our head to prayer. Exhaling down through heart center, Namaste. Thank you so much, everybody. I really, truly always appreciate you spending time with me today, and I look forward to seeing you next week.